Bam! The data is in, the ratings are final, and today we find out which Big 12 programs actually move the needle for the conference and who are the pretenders. I'm your professor, WildUte. Let's jump into it. Here is the data. This records all 12 regular season games for each one of the Big 12 schools. Yes, all 16 of them. This is based on Nielsen rated data. So if your team or your matchup didn't play on a Nielsen rated channel, i.e., ESPN Plus, CBS Sports Network, you for that week got a big fat 0 rating because nobody's watching your games. That's why you ended up on ESPN Plus. This is all for Nielsen rated games. And behold, the Iowa State Cyclones. Holy smokes. This is good news for Cyclone territory with a 1.82 million viewers per game average rating throughout the 12 weeks of the regular season. Phenomenal for Iowa State. In fact, this number is so phenomenal, it is almost double what Iowa State's been putting down for the last few years in the past. So Iowa State wins the viewership crown with a 1.82 million viewer total. Now, second on the list here, TCU. The Horned Frogs edge out Colorado at the end of the season with one of the premier matchups on Fox. And TCU, talk about an underrated school as far as TV ratings go. Nobody talks about TCU very much, but people watch them because they're always getting strong ratings. And 1.74 average per game for the Horned Frogs. Take that any day of the week. Now, number 3 on the list is shocking. The Colorado Buffaloes and Coach Prime have taken a steep drop from 4 million viewers per game back 2 years ago to roughly 2 to 3 million viewers per game last year to less than 2 million at 1.71 in third place, the Colorado Buffaloes. It's been a rough season for Colorado. Hopefully things turn around soon. Prime still has shine, but is that shine wearing off? Perhaps. The Buffaloes just need to win some games, and they'll be back. Now, 4, Texas Tech Red Raiders, the Big 12 champions. This number, 1.67 million viewers per game, is much better than its historical 4-year average. Double, triple that number almost. Texas Tech is going to get ratings down the line. They're going to be good for a long time with that oil money coming in. And a 1.67 rating is a strong rating for Texas Tech in 2025. And expect that rating to even go up next year into 2026. Texas Tech will be contending for the viewership, glory, title, crown, everything in 2026. Moving down the list here, BYU Cougars. BYU posts its best viewership year ever. Now, BYU has historically hovered around 1 million viewers per game, but with its strong 11-1 regular season campaign, posted a 1.64 average viewer per game rating. That is strong for Cougar territory. So BYU shows out well in 5th position in the Big 12. Down to 6th. The Utah Utes with 1.22 million viewers per game. Folks, this is Utah's average over the last 4 to 5 years. 1.2 to 1.25 million viewers per game. It's right in that territory. This is what Utah gets year in, year out, sometimes maybe a little bit higher, a little bit lower, or right on this mark. So Utah posted 1.22 million viewers per game, 10-2 season, strong viewership at the beginning of the season, boosted by a huge ratings game versus Texas Tech Red Raiders in week 4. But then, surprisingly, it kind of tapered off towards the end of the season. Now, talk about another ratings team that just is a steady Eddie, consistent team, and that's the Kansas State Wildcats. Always getting over 1 million viewers per game, even with the atrocious season, according to Wildcat standards. K-State was one of the preseason Big 12 favorites. Didn't get it done, but still posted a really strong viewership rating of about 1.13 million viewers per game. So the Cats, consistent, Strong, healthy viewership. Hope that rises in the new Colin Klein era going forward into 2026. Now, a few schools that actually had big time jumps. And number 8 on the list for the Big 12 is the Arizona State Sun Devils with 1.04 million viewers per game. And you might be saying, hey, WildUte, that is kind of middle. It's right in the middle. But if you look at Arizona State historically, even back to 2024 and the Big 12 championship run they had that year, ASU's numbers have been really low. Their viewership numbers have hovered around the 500,000, 600,000 viewers per game several years back. So anytime you're building the brand and getting over 1 million viewers per game shows a good movement and hopefully a trend into the future. Arizona State's still a program on the rise, 1.04 million viewers per game, even though it's not the campaign they wanted in 2025, is a solid number for that program. And lastly, with 1.02 million viewers per game, this is the last of the million, is Cincinnati. Cincinnati Bearcats skyrocket over 1 million viewers per game. Cincinnati has historically been one of the lowest draws in the Big 12. So getting over 1 million viewers per game is phenomenal for the Bearcats. They were boosted by games versus BYU down the stretch, versus Utah down the stretch, versus TCU down the stretch. And they really came on late to get some viewership bump. And plus game 1 versus Nebraska got a massive score. And folks, I've got all the data. I'm going to show you the biggest games following this overview right here for all these teams and what really moved the needle. Keep watching. Next, Houston Cougars. Now we're looking at the less than million average viewers per game. Look, Houston with 790,000 viewers per game. It's good for Houston. Houston's a program that's building up, getting momentum. Historically, they've been pretty low in the 300,000 or 400,000 viewers per game. So this is double what they typically get. I think Houston's going to see rises into 2026, 2027. They are a program on the up and up. So look for Houston to try to approach that 1 million per game mark into 2026. The Kansas Jayhawks next in 11th position out of 16 teams. KU with a 730,000 viewers per game total. Look, guys, if you're a Jayhawk fan, probably not too happy about this. This is somewhat in line with the historical averages that the Jayhawks have put out there, but it was not the season that the Jayhawks wanted. There wasn't a lot of exposure for the Jayhawks. And so it was kind of a rough season all in all, and pretty middling TV rating of a 730,000. Hopefully KU can lift that going forward. Hopefully Leipold can turn things around. They can get that program back humming along, because there is a strong fan base that wants to watch Kansas football. And next on the list, number 12, West Virginia Mountaineers with 680,000 viewers per game. Mountaineer fans are disappointed in this number. I know. I've had conversations with a few of you. I totally understand. I get it. It's slightly lower than the 4 to 5 year average for the Mountaineers. 680,000 is not what you wanted. But you saw growth at the end of the season. West Virginia has momentum going into 2026 with one of the best recruiting classes in the Big 12 Conference. I expect Rich Rod to get this done quickly in 2026 to be a really good bounce back year for West Virginia. And with that underlying fan base for West Virginia, the ratings are right there. Can they just get better TV spots, better time to play too, in big-time matchups after winning some games to really lift this number? West Virginia will be a fast riser in the future, in the near future here with the fan base, that massive fan base, if they just win some early season games. So West Virginia in the 12th position, 680,000. Now looking at the Arizona Wildcats, that is the 13th team in the Big 12 as far as TV ratings go, 650,000 viewers per game. Look, Arizona, the basketball team gets good ratings. The football team struggles. It's historically struggled getting anywhere near 1 million viewers per game. No matter how good or how bad that program is, it seems like they're kind of capped into this territory. 650,000 viewers per game isn't bad for the program, this football team, but it's not great in the whole scope of the Big 12. Arizona's just going to find themselves here unless they really just build this brand in football and lift it over multiple years. You're probably looking at a program that's kind of capped as far as viewership goes in 600,000, 700,000, 800,000 territory. If they ever were to get to the million per game territory, it would be exceptional. I hope they do it one day. 14, 15, and 16 tell a story, folks. Because the last three in the Big 12. Baylor, with a team that they were supposed to have this year with Sawyer Robinson, has to be crushed by the season. I know Baylor fans are very disappointed at getting the 5-7 record that they reported. They turned down a bowl game. They even got invited to a bowl game. They said nope. And it's just been a ho-hum tough season for Baylor. Had a really strong rating leading off the year versus Auburn, and then just kind of fell flat after a couple losses. It just never materialized this season. And folks, one of the morals of the story with TV ratings, if you lose early season games, especially a few early season games, you're likely not going to get the exposure in the midseason and late in the season that you want. And the ratings really, week 1 and 2 are huge for TV ratings, but down the stretch, final weeks of the season are massive too. So you really want to benefit in those different areas. You want to have a high preseason ranking and win games, get the big TV ratings. Baylor lost the big game versus Auburn, just didn't get it done. And they were kind of forgotten by the networks, put on FS1, ESPN Plus. And this is what happens. Even when you've got a good football team, 650,000 viewers per game is disappointing for Baylor, a program that usually approaches that 1 million viewers per game territory. So a down year for the Bears. 15, UCF Knights. 520,000 viewers per game is good for UCF. Now, UCF's total was boosted by a few games, one versus North Carolina earlier in the season, got a really good TV rating, and also a game versus BYU late in the season. That really lifted this number from being in the last position. UCF is a growing brand, and it needs to grow a lot more. As far as just a true TV ratings driver, UCF probably has the most room to grow. 16, Oklahoma State Cowboys. Man, Oklahoma State Cowboys have historically been one of the best Big 12 TV draws. Without Coach Prime, Oklahoma State, really, if you're looking past in the last 5 years, is like the number one Big 12 team right there next to TCU guys. To see Oklahoma State at 460,000 viewers per game in 16th position sucks. WildUte loves Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State has a massive fan base, arguably the biggest fan base in the Big 12 conference. And there's brighter times ahead with the coaching change, with the momentum going on in Stillwater. The fan base is ready. The viewership's going to be there if Oklahoma State wins. Look for Oklahoma State to be the quickest riser to get out of the doldrum, especially if they rip off some early season wins. This is a natural TV draw and the best TV draw historically in the Big 12 conference. I want to see Oklahoma State rise quickly. I want to see them over 1 million. They're going to have a big bounce back in 2026, y'all. So when you boil it all down, the Big 12 average is 1.09 million viewers per game per week. Again, this is Nelson rated data only. ESPN Plus, CBS Sports Network, all other non-Nelson rated channels don't get a rating. And so therefore, they're given a 0 in this analysis. So these are conservative numbers, folks. But these are the most realistic numbers that you're going to come by. I compile these myself. Okay, as promised here, this is the game-by-game, week-by-week data for each one of the Big 12 schools. Okay, so as you can see, there's a lot of data here. And it goes line by line with Iowa State, who won the viewership title, down to Oklahoma State in 16th position. It records the viewership rating per week. There's a heat map associated with these numbers here. So anytime you see a red figure, that means that that game exceeded actually 4 million viewers, which is huge for Big 12. There's only one 6 million viewer game, and that's week 1, TCU, North Carolina, that boosted the Horned Frogs and enabled them to get into second position. There's been only a few 4 million viewership games throughout the whole season. One was week 0, Iowa State, K-State, Farmageddon, Dublin. Of course, that's going to get good ratings. It did, over 4 million viewers. Iowa State put up another 4 million mark with a game versus Iowa in week 2. The Cyclones came out blazing hot and slowed down towards the end of the season. The highest rated Big 12 on Big 12 game of the entire season was Texas Tech, Utah, with a 4.04 million TV rating on Big Noon Fox. That was in week 4, followed by a game between Texas Tech and BYU that almost approached that 4 million mark too. So as you can see, the Big 12 puts out a lot of 1 million to 2 million TV rated games. The conference does struggle to get those monster TV ratings above the 5 million, above the 4 million mark that the networks love to see. So what do you think? Did I get it right? Where did I miss? Are you happy with your team's TV ratings? You mad about my methodology? I know some of you are. That's okay. Leave it in the comments. Let's discuss. And if you've liked this video, give a thumbs up. Give me some hype points here and leave a comment. It all helps with the algorithm. And until next time, class is dismissed.